We have a very special interview today along with a very special person. We have Juliet. She is our guest for tonight, and she's going to be talking about how she dealt with things with the whole family feud situation of her being in love with a Montague and her family wanting her to marry a Capulet. She is going to talk about the relationships between the two men, Romeo and Paris. Paris being a Capulet, Romeo being a Montague. She's going to be talking about how she handled things with the whole situation. You don't want to miss out. It's an exclusive video, so stay tuned for the interview. Our first question for you, Juliet, tonight is, how did you feel when your father said he'd disown you if you wouldn't obey his rules? Because when you spoke to him and when you guys were arguing about it, you seemed to not have cared. I mean, you loved Romeo so much that you wouldn't mind being disowned by your own father. That is a very hard question to answer. However, it is a great question. And to answer it, I have to say, yeah, it did hurt to hear my father say that he disowned me for wanting to do what made me happy. But then again, I saw it from his point of view and I saw it from his perspective and understood where he was coming from, understood why he was angry. So I kind of just said whatever made my father happy, even if it wasn't the truth. I told my father I'd go and do what he'd say, so he'd back off. I told him I'd be with Paris, so he'd back off, when in reality I'm still going to go for Romeo. I am still in love with Romeo, just to make him happy. I mean, I didn't want to be disowned, and I didn't want to disappoint my father, but I can't help what happened. So, yeah, I just said whatever made him happy, just so he'd lay off a little bit more and cool down a little. Yeah, that must have been hard for you. My next question is, how did you and Romeo go about seeing each other? Like being able to look at each other, being able to be with each other, it must have been hard because Capulets stayed with the Capulets and Montagues stayed with the Montagues, and if one were caught in another group they're not supposed to be in, could have got really ugly. So how did you guys go about seeing each other? It actually isn't as hard as you think it is. Basically, what we did was we met up in the nighttime. We usually met up when it was dark outside, because people wouldn't be able to see us as well as they would in the daytime. Basically, whatever chance we had, we took to see each other, because it meant a lot for us to be together, and to be together meant we were happy. So we did whatever made us happy. My next question is, how did you deal with everyone reacting to your decision of all your decisions, like you not wanting to marry Paris for one? I know your father was very upset with you. Will you describe to us in detail how he took that, how he dealt with you, saying that, his reaction and everything? It must have been horrible. Well, yeah, my father was actually very upset. He was very disappointed in me and, not wanting to marry Paris. He screamed at me. As we said earlier, he threatened to disown me. He said he wanted to slap me, and his hands were shaking, and he was trying so hard to hold back, his physical anger towards me, because he wanted to physically hurt me. Yeah, he didn't really deal with that too well. My mother, on the other hand, she was mad about it too, but not as mad as my father. I think the only reason why my mom was mad that I didn't want to marry Paris was because how mad my father got, and she didn't like that. Yeah, my father didn't deal with that very well at all. He was very upset about it. My next question is, how did feeling like you betrayed your whole family and every Capulet around there, how did that make you feel? Feeling like you're unwanted, feeling like, people don't like you because you're in love with a Montague and you guys are supposed to hate each other, with the whole family feud situation going on. Did you care, or the only thing that mattered was Romeo loved you and you loved him? Can you tell us how you felt about that? Another good question, but honestly, I didn't have time to deal with people hating me for doing what made me happy. I loved Romeo, he loved me, and yeah, you're right, that's all that mattered. To answer your question, no, that's all that mattered. I mean, I knew I was disgraced, I know I betrayed them, I knew all of that. I knew how I made all of them feel, but they didn't make me feel anything. I just wanted to be with Romeo. I took risks. Um, I died for Romeo, and just to be with him is all that mattered. Nobody else's opinion mattered. What they said didn't matter. As long as Romeo loved me, as long as I knew I loved him, as long as we were together, nothing else mattered. I noticed you have a nurse, and I know that you guys are very close with each other. I know you guys spend some time with each other and talk about things and you share opinions. When the nurse said, "Mary Paris," how did you react to that? I figure you'd be mad. So yeah, when she said "Mary Paris," don't cause all this drama. Just marry Paris and be done with it. How'd you react to that? How'd you feel? Very good question. Right away, right as the nurse said that, my heart dropped. I mean, I was very angry. I felt betrayed. I felt like, you know, I felt she didn't respect my opinion and my happiness. She said marry Paris just because, um, just for the sake of your family not being mad at you, for the sake of, all the drama, like Mary Paris. And I felt like me and Nurse were really close. I feel like I could tell her anything and she'd listen, and she'd always know what's best for me most of the time. And for her to say that really kind of ticked me off and made me think twice about our friendship and think twice about her as a person. I got angry at her. I actually shouted at her. I wasn't happy at all when she said that because I heard it from everyone else. I didn't need to hear it from her. I thought of all people she'd be the one to understand, but I guess not. How long was it till you and Romeo were actually officially married? Because I knew then to be officially married meant having sex. So how did you guys, make it to the same room at the same time to make it happen? Like I said earlier, Capulet stay with Capulets, Montagues stay with Montagues, and where, when, how did this happen? I'm going to skip that question if that's alright with you. I don't think it's appropriate to be talking about my sex life, but the only thing I am going to answer is that it did happen. We were official. We did do it to be official. And that's all I'm going to say for that. Yeah, that's fine. My next question is, when was the first time you and Romeo met? Um, um, where was it? What happened? What did you guys say to each other? Did you know it was love at first sight right away? Um, Romeo and I met at a Capulet party. I didn't know at all that he was Montague until I started talking to someone giving me information on him. Right away I knew I was in love with him. He came and approached me, and I kind of flirted back with him and played hard to get at the same time. Yeah, we kind of right away knew when we met each other that we loved each other. My next question is, there were deaths. I know there were deaths during the whole, time being your cousin Tablet dying. Did you really honestly care for that as much as you should have, or did you not care at all? I know when you were talking to your mother, you were telling her you were upset because of Tablet dying, but were you really upset about not being able to be with Romeo rather than the death of your cousin? Yeah, no. I don't want to sound cold-hearted or anything, but no, it wasn't about Tiblet. He wasn't why I was upset. Not being able to be with Romeo is why I was upset. And I presented myself um, to make it look like I was sad because of my cousin's death, when in reality I was sad because of the whole situation with Romeo. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. I wasn't really sad about it as much as I was about Romeo. Um, that's it for today. Uh, Thank you for being on the show, Julia. It was truly an honor having you. Thank you for answering all the questions. It was a great interview. Until next time, we unfortunately have to go.